little bees. Welcome back to Stories from the Inside for the final time. Yes, that's right. This is the finale episode. And today I have no one. I'm interviewing myself. So I'm not going to explain myself. You're going to have to deal with it. You know me. I've been your fabulous host, Sam. And today I'm going to share with you my stories, pretty much. I know I've been kind of hinting towards it in the other interviews. I've been giving you bits and pieces of my story. But now we're going to kind of connect it all together and make it whole and get the full-ish picture, whatever I can remember. So, let's get started. First, general school experience. Elementary school's fine. It's elementary school, like, it was easy. All my teachers were very nice, very good. Middle school was heck, most people have that opinion. Middle school is very lonely for me, which was weird to go from elementary school with, okay, not a lot of friends, but you knew everyone and you interacted with everyone a decent amount. And then to go to middle school with 3 people that I considered friends, and then everyone else just kind of fell off. But it gave me a lot of time to think, which is one of the reasons I actually really liked middle school, because it made me who I am today, introspective and all that. At least I think so. I like to think so. I like to think things happen for a reason. High school was another big just shift. I went from basically no friends to suddenly everyone wanted to talk to me. And it was nice though. Because then I had that time to be popularity doesn't matter to me. So now it's not going to go to my head, and I'll just be able to enjoy the company and the little attention I get, which is nice. It was also a big shift, just in general. I joined drama club. Met my wonderful partner, my joy friend, which is better than partner. Joy friend is better than partner. I think it just sounds better. So high school was good. High school was a good experience. And then the pandemic hit, and I lost half my senior year. A lot of my friends are missing their entire senior year. And then the seniors that I know at college have lost their senior year. So all in all, I guess it's not that bad, but still, I think missing any amount of school, just anyone who misses school is suffering. I'm not saying I'm suffering more. I'm not saying I'm suffering less. Technically I am. Yeah, I can say that. I can say I'm suffering less than other people in terms of missed school. And I went to college, and I got accepted to both colleges I wanted to go to, and decided to come to St. Mary's. So that was nice. And St. Mary's has been a good experience. Very welcoming, very, I don't want to say progressive, accepting, there's LGBTQ student services. You feel like everyone matters. Obviously, that isn't entirely true based on last interview, which would have been yesterday's episode, and I'm recording this before that day even comes, so this is weird to think about. I mean, every college is gonna have its problems, but I think I made the right choice with coming to St. Mary's. They have what I want. They're doing fine. They did cut the theater major in theater and film stuff, so I'm a little salty about that, but we'll figure it out. Anywho, Best teacher. Tell me about you best. So best teacher. I'm gonna tell a couple stories because I just have had so many good teachers. They're mostly gonna be from high school. I don't have a good enough opinion of my college professors yet. But my English professors have all been great so far. I haven't had a single complaint about them. My Education America professor was very good. This semester I just had the final class with her a couple hours ago. I've had a couple bad professors, but it wasn't really a professor, it was just the class. Like last semester I took Calculus 1, which is basically just AP Calculus. So I already knew everything because I had taken AP Calculus my senior year. And I think I was just kind of salty from that. I'll talk about that when we get to the AP questions. Best teachers. So the first one that comes to mind is English 10. English 10 teacher. He was awesome because it was all big projects instead of vocabulary. English 10, that was an interesting year. So they have me go, beginning of that semester, they gave me my schedule and this guy is listed as my English teacher. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll go to that guy. And then like day before I go to class, day before day one, they send out the schedules again and I have a different teacher. So I'm like, okay, I'll go to her class. And I go to her class. And for a couple of reasons, I decided to leave the class. Main reason, my bully was in there and I didn't really want to be in the same room as him. I think for obvious reasons. But the other thing was like the first day we were doing vocab, and then the next day I go to the original guy I was supposed to have's class, and we're doing giant projects, and I'm like, this is my class. Like day one, we were doing an essay about something that we wanted to talk about. I talked about animals because I have an obsession, probably unhealthily. And then the rest of the semester was just really fun. I did a newspaper based on the Harry Potter universe. That was super fun. Our Lord of the Flies project was very interesting. We did a little folder, sort of fold out thing. And then the final project was this is the main reason I really like this teacher. The final project was a one-act play. So we watched the other two acts and read the other two acts. Excuse me. And then we had to adapt the third act to a time period. I think it was the 60s, 70s, and 80s, or 70s, 80s, 90s, or something like that. And so we were in class or after class, and the teacher stops me and he says, "Hey, Sam, you're in the drama club, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in the drama club. I joined the drama club that year, actually." So he was like, "Can you help direct and run these plays?" And I was like, "Oh, I would absolutely love to." If I remember correctly, I mainly did it because I wanted to be there as an authority figure and a representative of the drama club, because I didn't want these kids destroying our auditorium. I know it's not technically our auditorium, but we were the ones who were in there the most. So, and we had the drama master. So it. I liked drama club. I had a big ego about it. But that experience was pretty good. I got to direct basically, and that was super fun. We wrote a play, which was a good experience. The play wasn't fantastic. It was fine. It wasn't bad at all. Everyone did really well. I gave suggestions for what to do, and they took them half the time. And trust me, half the time is pretty good. This guy, I think his class was known as the bad kid class, so a lot of the kids in there were not the best students. And that's fine. I think, I can talk about that later. My opinions of bad kid versus good kid. I think that'll just naturally come up. No one can probably hear me at this point. So, yeah, I really like that guy because it gave me an opportunity to actually have a sort of higher authority in the classroom. Not that I was like that kind of kid who wanted to go on a power trip. No, I just wanted the experience because I wanted to be a teacher and I wanted to be a director. And I was like, this would be a very good experience. So I did, and it all went pretty well. I had to yell at the kids one time because they threw a Coke can in the toilets. And that's not our space to do that. That's a sidetrack story. Anywho, the other really good teacher I think of is my art teacher, who I had twice in high school. But I loved him so much because he never like said my art was bad, which is very nice. And you might think, oh, he was supposed to, but like he would just, no matter what I did, if it was wrong in any way or whatever, he would help me fix it. And he would actually sit there and help me, like he would help me along, and he would call me out for being a good kid and helping and trying to keep the class not in chaos. Senior year, he helped me with my final project. He actually helped me paint it, which I really hope that he enjoyed doing and didn't just do that because I asked. I think he enjoyed doing it. I like to think so. It was this big dinosaur armor thing. I made claws and a helmet. And really the paint job was the main thing that really pulled it all together. I think I did the base coat and then he did the details because I'm no good with details. But I made the actual sculpture, so. But it looks very great. It looks amazing and I love it. I'm so proud of it. And then I remember one other project we did was these tikis that we were carving out of foam, and my plan wasn't working at all. It was falling apart and just falling to ruins. And he was like, why don't you just make that the design? And I was like, that's genius. Why didn't I think of that? So that's what I ended up doing. And I think I'm actually kind of proud of that final product. I think it looks decent as a ruined piece. Special shout out to my drum club directors that I had for 2 years. They always just supported me, and I felt like I could trust them. The entire drama club I made, they felt like family. They do feel like family. They still do. But the two directors, they really helped me grow into my own as an actor and helped me improve and all that, and were there for me when I needed it most. So that was nice. Now for bad teachers. I'm thankful enough to not have a lot of bad teachers. A lot of the students who said, this teacher is so bad, I didn't think they were bad. Because I got along with them. You just gotta get along with the teacher and try to understand where they're coming from, because they are people too. But I think day one, the first episode and the second episode, we talked about a computer science teacher. I took AP Computer Science 11th grade, I think, or it might have been senior year before the pandemic hit. I don't remember. I wasn't a fan of him at all. Mainly because he would just do things for no reason. He would move kids randomly near the end of the semester when we were getting final projects and everything done, and we're all working on a computer. He'd just move them, and all our work is on that computer, but now we have to just work on a different computer. And he called out one of my friends for a speech impediment that he had, and he'd just bark. The guy would just bark randomly. I don't understand. And he was like, I know he knew he was a bad teacher, because the kids would riot, right? They'd go to guidance and he'd be like, it's happening earlier this year or something. And I'm like, so you're doing something wrong. Just fix that. Just literally just don't do what you're doing. And I didn't like him. Point being, I never took another class of his, but one good thing about being the good kid, I was part of tech, so he actually let me leave class to do tech. I was doing tech. I don't take advantage of the teacher's trusts, because that's hard earned. Anywho, Another teacher that I wasn't a fan of was my chemistry teacher in high school. And for one reason, like, the class was fine. It wasn't my favorite, probably because it was early in the morning, so I was falling asleep, and I felt really bad. But her room was hot, so it was her fault. Well, it's not her fault, but still, you know what I mean. Room was hot. I was tired. I was fighting sleep, and I felt so bad. I feel terrible when I am fighting sleep in a class, because that's not who I am. I don't like falling asleep in in class, even no matter how much I like or dislike the professor or the teacher or the professor or the class or the subject, whatever. I feel bad doing that. But it was chemistry, so it wasn't like horrible. There was a couple of very neat experiments, like we lit different metals and rocks on fire and got different colors. I don't remember much of that class. The main thing I remember is we finished early one day, and we were just kind of sitting around waiting for the bell to ring. And kids were listening to music or on their phones or whatever, and she just says randomly, "You are all failures because you listen to you have earbuds and you listen on your earbuds." And I'm like, "Pardon? What? You don't tell a group of students that they're failures. We already know that." And I say that jokingly, but seriously, like, a lot of us are probably dealing with mental issues that you don't even understand, and we probably tell ourselves that every night, and you're just going to outright tell us that as an authority figure, which doesn't help. A lot of them probably already feel like failures because they don't understand your class, because you're doing a bad job at teaching it. We had a ton of worksheets, and I don't like worksheets. So another reason I don't like that teacher. I don't like that. Any teacher who goes, "You are a failure for one reason or another," shouldn't be teaching. Honorable mention to my AP Psych teacher from high school, senior year, who, after taking a test that none of us were prepared for, because we had like a 2-day turnaround, and I think we were on a break, so no one read the chapter because, break, and we need a break, and we've been working, so no one was prepared. I think it might have been during the pandemic, so no one was like ready. It was the first few days, and so we take the test. Day one, we get back, no time for review or whatever. Get in and take the test. No one does good. She comes in. They're like, the grades are written on the board, and she goes, "I'm very disappointed." And I'm like, "Screw you. You did this to you. You should have known. You should have known that this wouldn't." Now I can appreciate, because my tech ed teacher, day one, gave us a test. And everyone failed, and he knew, because it was the hardest test. That was like going to be the final, and he was like, "No one's taking this. This doesn't count for anything. I just wanted to show you what the final was like." So we didn't actually have to do a final. But when you're doing this for an actual grade, and you're like, I'm disappointed in you because you didn't do what I asked. And you never told us exactly what you asked, and you're expecting so much of us. You don't have right to do that anymore. And I might be crazy for saying that. I might be the only one who thinks that. But you just my least favorite teacher, like I said, my least favorite teachers are the ones who call students failures because they don't do something that they want them to do. We're children, especially high schools. We're children. We're just becoming adults. And we're living in a day and age where things are drastically different from when the teachers were children and students. And they need to understand that. They also need to understand when they have to remember what it was like to be a student themselves and realize you're going through the same thing that I was going through. You have to have a bit of leeway for them, a bit of wiggle room. No one's perfect. You can't expect them to act like robots, perfect little robots that are going to do exactly what you want when you want them to, because they are dealing with 4 other classes or 3 other classes and however many clubs they've got, and some of them have jobs, some of them have home life problems. You don't know what everyone's going through, and you cannot expect them to do the amount of work you tell them to do. Like my AP Psych professor, my AP Psych teacher basically taught from the book. She gave us a textbook and was like, read this. And she gave us some reading schedule. You're like, okay, that's fine. You're told what you're expected to do. But do you realize how hard that was? It's so hard to keep up with a reading schedule when you have to read 3 chapters a night. And the chapters are 20 pages. And you're like, well, that's not that bad. You're in college. I didn't have to read that much. Never. I had to read. I have a little book, right? And that was my only book for this semester. It's like 100 pages. And she told us, my professor told us what chapters she wanted done when. And she gave us like a week to do them. And they're very easy chapters. They're like each, including the case study, like 20 pages. And we had to read 2 or 3 in a week. And that was it. That was what we had to do. Maybe a few other homework. But that was it. There's no one there. In high school AP classes, you're expected to have every textbook memorized front to back or you will fail. In college, you don't have to pick up the textbook because they're actually doing their job. Yeah, I don't like teachers who don't do their job. And I don't like teachers who call their students failures because that's just not good. That's just not. That's it. That's what I got for bad teachers. So gifted student programs. I was in a gifted student program in elementary school. It was called HAP, Highly Able Program. And my experience was fine. It was basically just reading. I don't know how I got in. I don't know when I got in. All I remember is one day I would do that once a week or so with like a very similar group of kids, very small group of kids. And that was the group of kids who succeeded through high school. So I'm not saying that we were predetermined of success, but we were predetermined to succeed at the age of like 5 in elementary school. No, I don't like gifted student programs. I don't like programs or anything that puts kids into categories like that and just determines their entire future from that point on, especially that early. The main goal of a school. So the main goal of a school right now is to get the good test grades. I talked about this a couple episodes ago. How the main goal is to get good test grades, and how I would do that if I was running a school would be everyone has an equal opportunity to get any class, and you want to try to equalize everyone to get to a point where they're all getting good test grades and they're all ready for the future. You don't just focus on the good kids and give up on the rest. That's what the gifted student programs are doing. That's what the highly able programs are doing. And no one's talking about it. No one's like, this is what's happening. If you're going to have a highly able program, everyone gets the highly able program. That's not fair to the other kids. You basically told them you're nothing. You're not going to succeed. That's not fair to. And yeah, some kids will just go against that. I recognize that. Some kids will blow it out of the water. But the vast majority who just don't have that early jump start are just not going to make it. They're not going to be as not effective, not good, prepared as they would have been. And that's not to say, well, yeah, because the regular school system isn't very good. And the High Able program prepares you for what they're trying to get you to do. And I don't agree with the school system at all, really. I think we need a complete teardown to get a good school system, and we need a new school system and a new thing in place. But if you want to go with the current system, and the current system based on testing, then your best option is to try to get everyone on the same level and give them all an equal education. I don't think that's hard to understand. I know like the school's thinking, oh, these kids have already gotten good test scores. We want to keep them going. But then you've given up on like half the population at the school. That's not fair to them. You don't know who they are. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know. And now you've predetermined them for failure because you told them at the age of 6 that they're not going to make it. You can't do that. It scars children. I'm speaking from experience, sort of. And I think my theory is that there's also it's psychologically damaging to those who do get into gifted programs, because now they are in the mindset of, I'm going to succeed or I have failed. Like, I need the A's. I need the advanced programs. I need the honors stuff. I need to be doing things, or I'm failing my past and I'm not doing my best. And then we feel that. And again, no one's talked about that. No one's covered that. And I don't know why. It could just be me. Maybe I'm just a psychologically damaged child. Who knows? But I think that there's something with the gifted program that just predetermines kids into one of two categories. Either they're going to be a failure and that's all they're going to be because that's what the school told them that's what they are, or they're going to continue to succeed, push themselves beyond what's reasonably expected of them, and then burn out at the age of 12. And then that's just going to be their life. Again, speaking from experience, I took AP every year of my high school career, culminating in 7 or 8 senior year. And that was the worst year of my life. It was the worst decision I ever made. It was constant nights until 11 o'clock, past 11 o'clock, of just burnout and homework. And I was in clubs. I was doing drama club, Dungeons and Dragons, National Honor Society, Leo Club. I had things I had to do. I had 2 jobs. And I still did AP. I succeeded. Like, I did fine in AP. I didn't pass the majority of the tests, but I got the grade. At the cost of my sanity. And if that's what's worth it, then we seriously need to reconsider how we're judging success in modern society. And we seriously need to think about how the school system is being run. Because I don't think mental health and mental stability should go above anything. You can't expect someone to take care of themselves and do the work you expect of them if they're just not there. If their mind is elsewhere, you can't expect them to do what you want. And if you expect, like, if that's what we're expecting, then you gotta give them time. You have to be more relaxed. You have to give them the time and the space to get things done. So, to continue with AP, yeah, I took a lot of AP, and my experience was hell, to put it bluntly. The workload was ridiculous. The tests were pointless and useless and way harder than anything we did in class. I remember my AP World professor. He would do these before school study sessions, and those are great. didn't help on the test. That's not to say that he was bad at his job. It's to say the test just wasn't what we were doing. Nothing prepares you for the test. I don't care how much your professor or your teacher tries to help you and tries to prepare you. I don't care how much online training you do. Nothing prepares you for those tests because everything seems to come out of left field. And you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what they expect. The multiple choice questions are so... they're just open-ended enough that you could have multiple answers, but you are looking for the correct answer, the one correct answer that some random old white guy decided is the right answer. And they're hundreds of miles away. They don't care. And then the essays, don't get me started on the essays, because you think you have a good essay, and then you look back at it, and they read it, and you're like, oh, I got nothing. And they're all first drafts, and they still hold them in very high regard. I think I succeeded. I got 3 college credit for my AP tests. I got an AP Bio. I got a 5 on that test, or a 4. I got a 5 on the AP Psych test, so I got that. There's one more. I think I could be wrong. I could just have had 2. It might have been 2. I took like 10 AP classes. Point being, AP is not worth it. Please don't do it. Please don't do it to yourself. Just please. Anyone out there who's thinking about taking AP, telling you now, it's not worth it. The money's not worth it. The test isn't worth it. The stress isn't worth it. You have a like 10% chance of getting college credit. Don't do it. You just take the classes in college. You'll be more prepared, and they're more prepared to handle that level of work. It's so much easier in college. I mean, you have to be prepared to do the work. You have to do the work. I'm not saying college is easier than high school because it's more relaxed and it's intended for that level of work. I haven't had to cram at all in the 1 year I've been at college so far. I'm a freshman. I haven't had that much experience, but my experience has been very pleasant overall. I've had a good amount of free time. I've always had my evenings free. People are yelling. I've always had my evenings free, though, because I haven't had to do... I've always just managed to get my work done. Anywho, so how did the school handle conflict and stuff like that? I don't know, really. I usually kept my problems close to my chest. I didn't really talk out a lot. I've talked about the GSA. You don't need to hear that again. We've talked about it like 3 times. As far as psychology issues, I do actually have some experience with this. I went to guidance a couple times for psychology issues. I had a breakdown 10th, 11th grade year, I think, near the end. Not my shining moment. But I went to guidance and I talked to them, and they were like, you should get a therapist. But they also suggested doing a family meeting and talking to my family about how I was feeling. The results of that are questionable at best. But the school did fine, I guess. It definitely, like, the level of work definitely didn't help any. Like I said, nights till 11, basically every night. Always had a new assignment, didn't matter what day of the week it was. And a million other things to worry about. Bullying definitely wasn't handled well. I was stabbed with a pencil and no one did anything about it. Story time. So I was bullied for a couple of years. Mostly verbal abuse. This guy would insult me, my brother, my friends. My then girlfriend, if I remember correctly. So just general douchebag. this had been going on for a year or two when I finally had enough, because this was basically daily. This was a basically daily occurrence. Anytime I wasn't with my brother or his friends on the bus and talking to them, I was being verbally harassed. And I wasn't the only one this kid harassed. He harassed a lot of kids. But one day I finally had enough, and I decided to do something about it. So I gently threw a pencil in his general direction. I completely missed, didn't hit him at all, hit the opposite window. He proceeded to lean over the kid who was sitting next to him and stab me with the pencil. Graphite got stuck in my arm. I had a scar for a bit. You can't see it now. Hey, look, scars heal. But no one did anything about it. I came home and told my parents, and they didn't do anything about it. So I didn't tell the school because it had happened, and they weren't going to do anything about it. So nothing got done with that, and the harassment continued. He threatened me multiple times. I remember one time, I was in Boy Scouts for a while. I won't talk about that. But one time we were going camping, and we were going camping in town. And he was like, I'm gonna beat you up. And I'm like, okay, I'll be here this weekend. Come. I don't care. He didn't. And I was thinking about coming in the Monday and rubbing it in his face, but I decided against it. Though I wanted to beat him up, I decided to be the bigger man, I suppose, technically speaking. And eventually he just stopped. Eventually he stopped going on the bus as much, and I stopped going on the bus as much, so we just stopped crossing paths. But as I told you, still to 10th grade, I didn't want to be in a class with him. I never really wanted to be in a class with him because I didn't know what was going to happen, and I'd rather just not. I think eventually he left the school. I heard he got in a motorcycle accident or something. I don't care. So, my experience, they didn't. To be fair, I didn't say anything, but also to be fair, I didn't think anyone would care. So, what about equity? We talked about this, GSA. And I think episode 1, we talked about how racism was just kind of rampant because of where we lived, mostly in the students. Thankfully, the teachers didn't really get involved. But the very nature of school is racist and segregating, as I've learned in Education America. Standardized testing is racist, leaning towards middle-class white people. Not necessarily white men, but you can basically assume that. Like I said, nature of school is to be racist, and not give poor Black children as much of a chance as middle class or better off white children. And it sucks. It's horrible, and I hate it. But that goes to show you systemic racism everywhere. Hopefully, I can take care of that when I'm a teacher. Yeah, I noticed that the majority of the quote-unquote bad kids were African American. And in my opinion, that is because the school early on told them that's all they would be. I think I've said this before, you are what people say you are. And when you get hurt, when you get told enough that you are something, you will eventually embody that and just prove them wrong, prove them correct. Unless you're a very special person and you decide that that's not who you are and that's not who you want to be. But when you're a child and an adult tells you you're a troublemaker, there's not much you can do about that. You just kind of agree with them because they're the authority and they know better at the time anyway, or at least you think you did, at least you think they did. And then you get to high school and you are the bad kid and you get bad grades and no one stops to question why. No one stops to question what might have happened earlier in life. Now, obviously, this is not my experience, and I don't know anything about that really. I wish I did. I wish I knew more. I'm just saying what I think is happening. And I really do think that kids need to be given more of a chance, just to prove themselves and show who they really are. We've talked about GSA. Like I said, LGBTQ wasn't really accepted in my school. Not in my community. The staff and teachers were very helpful when that whole thing broke out. But obviously the student body, general student body, probably majority, just didn't support it at all. I don't think we've ever had expanding from just the school. I don't think my town ever had anything like that. I know the drama club was filled with LGBTQ community, so I'm glad we at least had that safe space for a while until the GSA came along and expanded to that. I'm very glad that the LGBTQ community can have a safe space. I wish that the school in general was a safe space, but one step at a time, you know. I think the school, I would say the school did better than average at equity, but it's like slightly better, and average is not that good to begin with. So, like I said, I don't think any of the staff was outwardly racist. I was exposed as a white male to a lot of different cultures and people in my education career, so that is good. It's good to know that the school wasn't like picking and choosing students. As far as I know, we just kind of moved from school to school as we grew older. Like I started in Bridges Elementary, and then I went to Lockman, and then I went to North Caroline, and all my friends just came with me, most of them anyway. Some of them moved or went somewhere else, and then I like found them again later or whatever. Anyhow, yeah. Final thoughts, wrap up. Don't do what I did. Just don't. I say that a lot. A lot of my friends are really tired of, I'm sure they're tired of hearing that. Don't do what I did. Don't take AP. Don't take all the AP. If you want to take AP, take ones that you know you'll be good at. Just take ones that you think will actually help you. Did AP prepare me for college? I suppose, by being 10 times harder than it. If you want the experience, then go for it, I suppose. Join clubs. Join extracurricular. I know it can be a bit stressful, especially considering all the homework that is expected of you in high school. But join clubs. Make friends. As soon as we get out of this pandemic, there's going to be a lot of people who are lost and scared and alone, and you need to help them because you've been through this before. I know I'm going to be very confused day one, sophomore year of college, assuming we just go back full in person and not have the online option, as we have had. And it's going to be a very different experience, just going to and from classes. Don't be me. Don't be a loner. If you're in college, don't just stay in your dorm. Well, okay, now you can, because of the pandemic. But as soon as the pandemic's over, don't just stay in your dorm. Go have fun. Go make friends. I joined improv. Best decision of my life. I made a ton of good friends in there. I've interviewed a couple. I interviewed one of them. I haven't had. This has been a very. So I know this project has been taking a long time, and I know it seems like, oh, I've had plenty of time in between stuff. Things happened very quickly when I got through the first like 5 or 6 of these interviews, and then everything just kind of fell apart, and I couldn't manage to get interviews in, and everyone was very busy, and I didn't feel like bothering anyone. Depression hit really hard for a couple of days. Okay, I lied for a couple of weeks. I'm better now. Don't worry, I'm fine. Okay. But I finally was able to get the last of the interviews the last couple weeks, and I'm doing this one now. And I really hope that this is going to end up looking pretty good as a final thing. What did we learn? This is going to serve as the after journal. Well, I'm going to actually write it, but I'm going to also talk about it. So we learned a lot in this little experimental thing. We learned that we need to make a lot of changes in schools. We learned what a good teacher is. They listen and they treat each student as potential and as a gift and as an individual and not just a statistic or a student. They're actually a human being. We've learned that some of the best classes have been very creative and with freedom of assignments and stuff like that. We've learned that systemic racism and bigotry just is so ingrained into society that it can't even escape school. And one of the things we need to fix with that, one of the things we need to change about school to move forward is the equity part and fix that and just make it better. Make it so that everyone can be accepted in school. The arts is very important. I know we didn't talk about that a lot, but we talked about that a couple times. How important the arts is for education. And I have talked about, I know I talked about that, so I decided I didn't want to talk about it again. What else did we learn? How to be a good teacher. We heard from an excellent teacher who we've heard a lot about from other podcast members and podcast participants. We learned that a lot of teachers do it because of the students. I've heard many teachers say, no, it's not the money, it's not the administration, it's the students. You do it for the students. No one does this job for the money, sadly. Teachers don't get paid enough. Teachers don't get paid nearly enough. But they do it for the students. They do it because they want to make a change and a difference, and they want to help the students. We know that teachers recognize that there's problems with the education system, but there's not much that they can do about it. We learned that things have changed a lot over the years. And I guess it's time for my final words of advice for all of you. Be yourself. I know it doesn't really sound like it applies to anything that I've been talking about, but seriously, be yourself. You should be your first priority. You cannot take care of anyone or anything else until you are good and you are sane. If someone is being rude to you, being mean to you, and being toxic, kick them out. They don't need to be in your life. They don't deserve to be a part of your life. You can give them a second chance if you want later, but if they're not being good for you, you have to drop them. You just have to. Again, you have to take care of yourself. If you feel like something's wrong, tell someone. Get it sorted as soon as possible. Get your work done on time, preferably ahead of time, because it will pile up. Trust me, I know. That's how I got into the mentality of just get everything done as quickly as possible. Take time for yourself. If you're a college student, seriously, take time, watch some YouTube, play some video games. If you have a 10-minute break in class, take the advantage of that 10-minute break and go back to the grind. I'm looking at my guitar. Pick up an instrument. I don't know, pick up a hobby. Do something. Stuffed animals are great. Never forget that stuffed animals are great. If you were ever into stuffed animals, that's fine. But I know I love stuffed animals, and they help me through a lot. If I'm ever feeling stressed, I'll just squeeze one of mine. You're never too old for childish things. Never forget to play. Never forget to have fun. Use your imagination. It's so important nowadays. And I'm going to reiterate it again. Be yourself. Stick to yourself. Stick to your morals. Stick to who you are as a person. There's only one of you. And you are special. All right. I'll see you in 6 months. Bye, guys.